Welcome, 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 new listeners, returning listeners, long-timers, first-timers, and everybody in between. I'm Dr. David Hopkins. I'm a humanities professor, and I'm your guide through the Intellectual Freedom Podcast, where we take culture and politics and literature and philosophy and everything in between, and we're really asking one ruthless question. Does it make you more free or less? Because if it doesn't elevate your mind, your understanding, and your intellect, I just don't have time for it around here, and I hope you don't either. That's the mission, that's the vibe, and that's the journey. I have one more standalone podcast before we head into Plato's Republic, and I'm stoked about this coming series that's going to be starting next week. But I'm also working on some new things, trying out to use some video, trying to build more dynamic content, trying to up the game a bit. But for now, I just want to take on this topic first, one last time before we get into the Plato and the Republic series, as I ran across a quote that just grabbed me, and I wanted to go deep with it. Let's just call this a crisis of vision and the aversion of the learned. Let's open with a banger from Terence McKenna. So Terence McKenna, he was an American ethnobotanist, a writer, and a philosopher, best known for his work on psychedelics and consciousness and cultural critique. He explored how human perception or language and society evolve over time. And he warned often about systems that dull critical thinking and the suppression of imagination. The man could distill an uncomfortable truth into a single sentence so effectively. Very, very few could do it that way. And he made this quote. He said this: despite having the tools to create a better world, resources, knowledge, and compassion, too often we allow those with the least amount of vision and wisdom to lead us. Now pause that. Hold it in your mind for a moment and just kind of let it swirl around. Despite having the tools to create a better world, resources, knowledge, and compassion, too often we allow those with the least vision and wisdom to lead us. Because here's the twist. I mean, in a superficial way, yeah, I think he's right. I mean, it's a good excuse, but I don't think we allow anybody to lead us. I think the wisest, the most principled, the most intellectually honest people want nothing to do with the American political system. Nothing. Zero. Nada. And why? Why would that be? Why would the smartest, most intellectual people not want in there? I think it's because they've done the math. They've run the simulations. They've looked at the perceptions of the political game and have had the foresight to see the reality. I think Plato said it bluntly thousands of years ago. He said, the penalty good men pay for not being interested in politics is being governed by men worse than themselves. I think in America today, Plato hit the bullseye. The best of us don't want to be in politics, so we're governed by people far worse than them. As I analyze our political class in America today, and I have to believe that the good men have looked at the political arena and said, yeah, that's a big hard pass for me. We have plenty of highly skilled, intellectual, high-octane women and men, leaders and thinkers. The problem is they don't want anything to do with Washington, D.C. Today's argument is simple. The system isn't broken. It's functioning exactly as it was designed. And it's designed to repel wisdom, ethical and moral leaders, and intellectual heavyweights. And this episode is about why the smartest people avoid this arena and why the revolution we need isn't actually political like the politicians will tell you. It's personal, it's philosophical, and it's internal inside your own mind. And I love McKenna. I think he's brilliant. I just think he missed the mark on that quote. He oversimplified something here when he says we allow those with the least vision and wisdom to lead us. As I would more lean into, I don't think we could even convince them, even if we wanted to get them into it and wanted to elect them to lead us, that they would even show up. So let's start in the cave. Plato's cave in the Book of Republic. In the Republic, Plato tells us the philosopher who escaped the darkness and sees the sun and the world of truth. But rather than being free to enjoy the sun and truth, he feels more compelled and forced back down in the cave to free everyone else, or in the essence, to rule. But he doesn't want anything to do with it. He doesn't desire power. He understands ruling is a burden. Heck, he understands the truth. Many people, quite frankly, most people, just simply are not going to accept any moral, ethical truth. The wise person is almost always perceived in history as having no appetite for the political circus, and for good reason. It's an unwinnable game. And think about it. What is modern politics really? Emotional manipulation, aggressive simplicity, sound bites that travel well on TikTok in our postmodern day and age. The truly intellectually powerful person, well, do you think they see the pursuit of truth, justice, and truly serving the people beaten to death with a plastic Walmart lawn chair? If you don't believe it's that bad, turn on a primary debate. Heck, turn on a presidential debate. Listen to a politician just stone cold, clear faced lie on a TV interview. The intelligent person sees this immediately. They can't and won't buy the ideological BS. They see that curiosity is punished, honesty is treated as weakness, complexity is mocked, integrity priced out of the market. Imagine a highly intelligent, highly principled person running for office. They'd probably not make it 3 days. There's a reason we have the gaggle of politicians we have, and it ain't because they're ethical, moral, and honest heavyweights, because to survive the vetting meat grinder, you need to surrender at least one of these 3 things, and often all of them. Number 1, your privacy, guaranteed. Your integrity, possibly. Your ethics, highly likely. The wise don't enter the arena because they understand the arena demands ideological rigidity, the exact opposite of what a thinking human being should practice. So the field is left open for those who want power, not truth. And the intellectual heavyweight looks at the entire enterprise and says, yeah, I don't think so. I'm just going to pass on this. Now let's walk into the darker part of the house. You know, McKenna, when he says, despite having the tools to create a better world, resources, knowledge, and compassion, too often we allow those with the least vision and wisdom to lead us, sort of implies that we, you and I, the voters, have allowed that to happen, or we have the capacity through votes to change the direction of the caliber of people in politics. But what if the system really isn't fixable? What if the corruption isn't an error, but a feature? What if this whole problem is structural? Let's pull in Karl Marx for a moment. Not for the economics, but for the architecture. Hey, I'm not a communist. I'm sure if you've listened long enough, you know this. That system is a brutal failure, and don't try and lump me in on team red or blue. I'm not on either team, so don't pigeonhole me like that. But we can't ignore some of what Marx said. He's a brilliant guy in many ways, as sadly, it's very relevant today. Marx argued the superstructure, the institution, the culture, and the laws exist to protect the base, the economic powers. What is American politics if not a perfect demonstration of this right now? Let's be honest. We get two parties, one economic master, 1,000 illusions of different choices. We pretend it's Coke versus Pepsi, but it's really water from the same tap poured into different colored cans. Foucault would call this the power knowledge system, a structure designed to shape reality, shape public emotion, shape what can even be said. You want evidence? Well, let's go. Managed elections. Congressional incumbency hovers around 90%. So that means once a politician is elected into office, when they try and rerun again, they win at a 90% rate. Sure, we have elections, sure thing, it happens, but how many actual battleground elections are there? I mean, really, think about it for just one little second. There's very few, very, very few. In what universe is that evidence of a vigorous democracy? Take some states, California, Texas, New York, Alabama. Come on, those election results come in almost before the poll locations even close. I mean, we get results out of California and Alabama quicker than in a communist China, quote unquote, election or a Cuban or a Venezuelan style. So many districts, so many states, they're not really elections. They're a renewal form. More evidence, you break rank. If you're on the left or right, you know a politician. You know one on your team, quote unquote team, that doesn't follow the party line all the time. Those that question the orthodoxy, left or right, doesn't matter. You're punished. John Fetterman on the left, for example, gets iced for deviating from progressive scripts. Goodness, the guy thinks it's wrong to attack Homeland Security agents or open up the government when it's shut down outside the guardrails of the party talking points, and his own party screams for him that he needs to be primaried, and he went crazy. Marjorie Taylor Greene or Massey on the Republican side, they speak out against MAGA trying to release the Epstein files, or that just maybe Israel should not be funded as easily as they are. Dang, she was attacked to the point she's decided to just hang it up after one term. And Massey, geez, he's a pariah for daring to go against the party line. This is not a free marketplace of ideas. It's a mandatory obedience structure. And you can't say, yeah, that's what the Republicans do, or that's what the typical Democrat does, because both parties do it identically. Different sides, same coin. The truth is, how can you get highly intelligent, sophisticated thinkers to join either one of these teams? It just isn't possible. Another problem is this fourth estate known as the media. I mean, independent journalism is, for all practical purposes, dead. This is obvious. It's not breaking news. You know it. I know it. I even feel a little silly even talking about it at this point because everyone knows it. The faith in the media is just nothing. But it really does matter beyond just obnoxiously annoying cable news people. We just all have come to the grips that the media is dead. And I see this corporate media needs to be ignored. There is no news coming out of it. It's propaganda. Maybe not for your local news, but at the national cable, national news broadcasting, there is no value anymore. You are wasting your time. News is no longer truth seeking, it's engagement seeking. And engagement equals outrage, and outrage equals profit. You see the game, we see the game. The layer on top of this unavoidable truth about power itself. Power, as Lord Acton said, and it's one of the most famous quotes of all time, power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely, because power changes you. It enforces self-preservation. It inflates ego. It dissolves criticism. You don't fix that with the new Senate subcommittee. You don't reverse a cancer after it's metastasized to this level. At some point, the system stops seeing reform as healing and starts seeing it as a threat. And that's when you know the patient isn't coming back. So what do we do? What do you do? What do you do in this new year when the system is too corrupted to reform? You do what every philosopher, every mystic, every sage, every wise elder has done throughout history. You retreat, you rebuild, you reclaim your sovereignty. The revolution becomes internal, not external. You are not going to solve this problem by voting in Team Red or Team Blue in the next election. I think we retreat back to something known as Stoicism, taught over 2,000 years ago, and some of their core tenets. I think this might be one of the best things you can look at. You control your judgments, you control your actions, and everything else is noise. I want to say that one more time for you, just so you get it. You, as you listen to me, you control your judgments. You, nobody else, controls your actions, and everything else is noise. Taoism, you like that better? Lao Tzu practically begs us to stop wrestling with corrupt systems. He said, tend to your garden, live in alignment with the Tao, and act without forcing. Nietzsche, you prefer, if you're an atheist out there listening in, you prefer him, he would tell you the real revolution isn't overthrowing power, it's mastering yourself. The will to power in itself is the will to self-creation. You build your values from the ground up, not the party line, not the media narrative, not the cultural mood, your values, your truth, your sovereignty. So let's get practical. Something known as the Medusa protocol, if you've ever heard of it. And if you're not familiar with Medusa, she was a Gorgon in Greek mythology whose gaze could turn anyone who looked at her into stone. Her story basically kind of teaches that some forces, whether fear, corruption, or destructive power, they can't be confronted directly. They have to be approached with strategy, with reflection, and indirect vision, just as Perseus used a mirrored shield to defeat her without looking straight on. Politics is like Medusa. If you look at it directly, you're going to turn to stone. So don't look. Look at actions. Don't look at words that they say. Look at outcomes. Don't look at narratives or slogans. Look at real world behavior, not speeches or 10-minute sound bites on cable TV. Verify literally everything. Verify the data, verify the footage, verify through your own lived experience if it is actually working. You simply cannot believe the media. The words a politician speaks. You have to rely on your own lived experience and things you in your own world and mind can verify. For the rest of the hyperbole and fire and brimstone and end of the world, you just have to leave it behind. It is insanely frustrating, I know. I live it. We're given two pieces of garbage candidates from the Democrats and Republicans, and we're forced to always choose the least worst option, which is so awesome for them. They always win, at least one or the other. It's the beauty of a duopoly. But is it even possible to withdraw from this duopoly entirely? Is it even possible? Not necessarily, sadly. I wish I had the the magic bullet to make it happen. But what can you do? Support those rare green shoots of independence. Every once in a while, one shows up. The candidates who actually buck their party or in the minimum show some semblance of independent thinking and not every single word out of their mouth sounds like talking points from the party cue cards. Support like crazy any journalists who actually report the truth and are willing to take the heat to do it. I have of recent times been a huge admirer of the podcast Honestly by Barry Weiss. I hope she doesn't get corrupted like the rest as this company expands and Barry expands into CBS News, one of the old blue blood guard of media. I fear for it. But that's definitely been a green shoot for years. But most importantly, invest locally. This is the one you control 100%. Nobody can take this power from you. Your family, your neighborhood, your school, your community, your own mind, your own actions. This is where influence is real, where it's measurable, and where it matters. So here's the final truth. That velvet cage we find ourselves isn't built with force like communism or early eras or Venezuela, sadly, in modern times. It's built with pleasure, comfort, distraction here in America. And this right here, this reclaiming of personal sovereignty, this discipline, this clarity, this courage, this is how you find your way to survive this teeming pile of crap known as modern American politics. I mean, I'm not giving you a silver bullet solution. Unfortunately, I wish I could. I would if I knew one, but I'm not sure it exists. But it is at least a way to keep your own sanity and your own intellectual freedom. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it gives you a little food for thought. I'm David Hopkins. This is the Intellectual Freedom Podcast. Stay curious, stay courageous, and stay free. And I can't wait till we kick off our series on Plato and the Republic next episode.